lately I found the people that I interviewed turned out to be very good looking. Can I have a milk tea, please? Are there seats upstairs? Is it okay that you can have a conversation with us just upstairs? Now let's go upstairs.
去楼上。哎，这边好，我们走上去。楼梯还是蛮窄的。这家店真是。
It seems a century-old place. Hi, hello.
Hello.
So can we sit here? Please take a seat. Let me try this one. So, what's your recommendation? We have milk tea and.
猪扒包，我其实现在特别希望那个正在收看我们直播的网友能给我投票，我要点什么？但是我觉得我可能等不到那个时候，不如今天点猪扒包怎么样？好啊好啊。要一个。奶油呢個。
We also have the pork hamburger here, and I really hope that our audience can share with us what they want to order here. They can probably put up a vote.
更多的添加，比如糖啊之类的。
是我们都是博楼之前，因为我们都是很久了，我们是1958年开始的。
1958年。
对，然后我们尽量都是博楼之前的地方，因为我们这个店都是之前很多都是街坊。
The milk tea tastes so good.
所以我们都尽量博楼他们喜欢的，然后他们很多都是很老的。
It tastes quite natural, without too much sugar.
就是那些老的顾客还是喜欢最早的那个味道。
对对。
那就是你们的口味应该这些年都没有怎么变过。
是啊是啊是啊，尽量博楼了。
一般下午就是游客比较多。
是啊是啊，上午就很多游客，早上就是我们本地人、澳门人。
就是还是住在附近的人会来这边。
是。
这有意思。1958年经营到现在60多年了。
对啊，我们之前其实1940多年呢已经有这个店了，但是一开始就是一个士多，一个便利店。
便利店就是一个商店。
对，然后我们就改了，就做这个餐厅，就选择餐厅嘛。然后到现在都是这样。
到现在应该是第几代？第4代、第3代？第三代。
delivery services. So previously, it's mainly about serving the neighborhood. Yes. And we've collected a lot of antique furniture and small objects here. Oh yeah, indeed, I can also see some interesting objects here. Some toys. Well, I think it's a really interesting setting where the customers are waiting for food and a drink. They can play around with all these objects here. I don't know if this is really something also you can find in Macau, because I saw it in Japan before, and I can put a coin in and see what happens. See what surprises are waiting for me. It looks really old, so let's see what's coming. So every time, the most exciting time is when you try to open this. You just have to squeeze it a little bit. So what's inside? Let me show you how to play this. I've never seen it before. This is something you play when you're a boy, right? Yes, you just blow it, and they can grow into a balloon. Let me give it a try. Or I can find someone else to help us. Can you show us how to do this, sir? Oh, maybe it's just too old. So, our two gentlemen here have no idea how to play with this. I don't know if our audience know the answer, how to play with this. So next time I can play with it correctly. That is my pork hamburger. Can't wait to take a taste, to take a bite. You also need some fork and a knife. Or I just take it up and take a bite. Maybe for gentlemen, it's okay to just take it up and take a bite. Right, I don't know what's the elegant way to have a hamburger, but this is really very similar to a hamburger, but this is quite unique in Macau. It is with pork mat in it. Well, the secret is that you need to make sure the bread is quite fresh, and the pork steak is also very fresh, just fried. So during my visit to Macau, I was already having a lot of different food. I might gain some weight. Yummy. So tasty, especially the bread, and also the pork mat tastes really good. Fantastic. Perhaps I should just forget about the camera and show my true self. Let me take one more bite, and that's it. Actually, what makes the pork burger tasty is the crispy taste of the bread. And the pork mat, if you take it home, it won't be so tasty. So, what about this one? This is so big. Maybe too much for me. I can just give it a taste. It's pineapple. I saw this one in Hong Kong as well, especially in the tea cafeteria. Yes, exactly. So you just have to make sure it is eaten hot. For the first time, I ever tried something so tasty. Previously, I think bread with butter is just so-so, but you just have to come to Macau to give it a test. Well, the pineapple and the oil just taste fantastic. What makes it different is it is really bringing to you sort of a combined taste of cold and hot at the same time. It's like ice and fire. Exactly. So these are the most favored dishes in your cafeteria, right? And also probably a bottle of coffee. So this street has become very popular nowadays, and you started very early, I know. It wasn't like this before. It was quite busy before as well. Previously, there was a public bathroom where you can have family members taking bath together here. So it seems like a community center, or it's like a public space where family members can have some good time together. Yes, a long time ago. Once upon a time. And gradually, it grew into how it is today, and more tourists got to know this place and came here. It's around the recent 20 or 30 years. That's before when I was born, when my parents were here. They actually swam. They actually need to take a ferry here, but now there is already a bridge built, so it's much easier to come here. So my first time to Macau was in 2007 or 8. At that time, I had no idea this Danzai district has become so busy. It's exactly in the recent couple of years. There are a lot of hotels built here, and Guanye Street as well as the Long Wangpu streets, they have been kept with the old style. So is that intentional? Yes. Previously, there was a park here. And it's not allowed to actually build residential housing here. So what is the biggest charm of Macau as someone who is local? I think this sense of nostalgia, or it gives you a sense of deja vu. And Macau is such a small place, but it's very special. Gives you the feeling. Yeah, if you want to go around the island, it takes around 1 hour. And everybody knows everybody. We all live in small communities. And we are all very friendly to each other. Yes, exactly. When I came to Macau, I felt it was very nice and easy. When you go to a restaurant, you find everything to be just right. It's not necessarily as so strict as house service is required in Japan, but here everything is more easygoing, and you just feel natural, and every person in Macau seems to be happy. Yes, exactly. Maybe I should stop eating But after my program, I can keep eating. Thank you so much for showing me around. And thank you. So actually, we learned about this cafeteria on the internet over social media, and we just reached out to the shop owner, and he was very graceful in terms of welcoming us. So now I'm really full. Let's go across the road and see what's over there. Actually, you can find a variety of restaurants on the two sides. You have Portuguese food. You can also find local Macau food. It's also an ancient street. I really prefer when a city has a staircase like this, and it's the indispensable component of a beautiful picture. And the city is very much providing a multidimensional experience, and you have so many different angles that you can look at the city. Actually, this area hasn't been developed for too long, and in comparison with all this interesting architecture and streets on the peninsula, you can find this place to be even more authentic. And this kind of road surface certainly makes my feet suffer, but it's really nice. Well, that's my next guest. Hi, Miss Liang. Also very good looking. And Miss Liang is a cultural ambassador for Macau. Awesome. I really wanted someone who is an expert of the local culture to give us introduction of the history and culture here. I thought it was going to be someone much older, but not someone so young and beautiful as you are. So, Miss Liang, my question is why this kind of a road surface is quite common in Macau? Actually, it was purposely built like this, and it's not just some random construction approach, but you have all of these rocks transported from Portugal here. But it's kind of stiletto unfriendly. Yes, you're right. But it's very interesting and authentic. And all the street and communities around here are also quite unique. They just looks like they come from the old time, and there is also integration of contemporary and old culture. Yes, indeed. You can find Macau is really a great example of how different cultures can merge and infuse with each other, and the traditions have been kept the way they are. We have a historic town, which is one epitome of the local culture, and we also have a very famous reputation as a city of gastronomy. Yes, exactly. Macau is such a small city. When I was talking with the boss of Guanye Cafe, and he told me it took only 1 hour to drive around the peninsula, but a lot of interesting stuff have been kept and preserved. Exactly, you can find a lot of ramps, and you can also find very narrow streets and one-way street. So as a driver, you can drive anywhere you want and you won't get lost. in Macau. So this is a place called Longhuan Puyu. There is a camel church, and there is also an old library, and there are also 2 parks here. And some ancient architecture cluster. So the library has become a marriage registration office, and there was a old church just right across the road. So after you register to get married, you can just go to the church across the street. This is really the place to be if you want to get married. Exactly. During weekend when I was here, I saw people taking their wedding photos. Sometimes you have to queue for a year before it is your turn to get registered. So getting married is still a big thing for people in Macau. Exactly. Well, just like the style here, it looks very ancient. So Longhuan used to be one of the early names of Macau. This is the camel church, and there's a cross just right next. And for brides, they like to take photos under the cross. It must be a place of blessing. Exactly. Now, you can also look at this place where brides like to throw their bouquets to the children when they are getting married. And for a lot of newlywed, they wanted to take a photo here, so they have to get into the church first, because only worshippers of the church can get married here. And this is the registration office. Exactly. What about this one? It's the library. As long as you are local resident, you can get registered here. Well, maybe it is not office hour now. You can look inside. So to get married here, you don't have to be a church believer. Yes, as long as you are local resident, you can get registered here. But if you want to get registered in the church, then you have to be a churchgoer. But you really have to wait in a very long line before it's your turn. Sometimes people just push off their wedding because they cannot get registered very soon. It was in 1920, the Portuguese government was trying to develop more areas starting from here. So you can still find some of the old buildings left by the Portuguese. Previously, it was all vacant here, but all this area was actually reclaimed land from the sea. It's a 2-story house, and that's just a 1-story house. And these houses used to be the residence of governor or ambassadors, but now they are open to visitors. And nowadays, visitors can get a look inside the Portuguese life of those colonists. And there was also a lot of exhibitions every now and then here. So it is really a very interesting place with unique culture. And some of the statues here are also made by famous artists. I went to the gallery and I saw some beautiful statues, many interesting pieces of artwork. Exactly, there is also a wetland just down there. There used to be lotus here, but we came here in the wrong season. So the building style here is really special, and the Portuguese people believe that if you can have an elevated foundation for your house, that means you have a higher social status. So that's why you can find that there is always an elevation on a Portuguese style house. Yes, exactly. You have so many tourist destinations here. At the same time, you also have local people visiting these places, like they also dine in the cafeteria, or they go to Guanye Street, and people also do a bit of jogging here. So Macau is really a habitable city, in a way, and it's also offering the citizens with wide variety of art life. So it's the place where art meets life. Absolutely. I believe all these ancient streets and houses and architecture, they are all part of the history. You're right. Now we can go to the wetland. Previously, it was a mangrove forest, but now, after a while, we have transformed this place into a wetland after the reclamation of the sea. This is also a place for bird observation. I heard a lot of rare birds are here. We have the black-faced bird, which is really not something we can hear on a daily basis. Every winter they come here. I mean the black-faced vervet spoonbills come here, and the lotus is very beautiful in the pond. Lotus is really one of the symbols of Macau. We also have some carnivals take place in Longhuan. Some festivities, interesting events, sometimes religious ones. So many people can get together when such a festival arrives. Thank you so much. We were just dazzled by how beautiful Macau is, but after listening to your introduction, we learned a lot. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Now, let's look at these old houses in Longhuan. Some are museums, galleries, bookstores, and this one is a bit of a creative because it is a creative store where you can find interesting objects, maybe. Let's go inside and take a look. Macau is affected by typhoon. Recently, there isn't a very big rain today, but previously the raining was quite heavy. Now let's go inside. You can find the ceramics, very beautiful, of Portuguese style. All these tiles, and postcards with hand drawings. Have you received any postcard lately? Every time when I go to a new place, I like to just send a podcast to my friend or to myself. And when you receive the postcard, when you look at it, you can remember what happened, all the beautiful things happened when you were there. You can also find interesting works of artists from Macau right here. So in the Portuguese culture, actually, we know that rooster is something that can bring you good luck, especially for a long voyage. A rooster is really a very auspicious symbol, so people like it. What's very special about Macau is that you can meet local people in the tourist destinations, just like tourists. And the local people are jogging, dining, and sometimes you find all these old houses still with people living in them. The best way to preserve a city's culture is really about making it still habitable, still useful for the local people. I really like the color of the architecture here, but I'm a big fan of monochrome pictures. But when I come to Macau, I don't want to take monochrome picture because I really love the color combination here. And every a few steps, you can find an interesting place of art, such as a gallery or a creative product store. This is what makes Macau especially special. When you come to Macau, you can forget about Lonely Planet. You can forget about all the recommendations. You just need to walk on the street, and you go to a random restaurant, and you go to a building that you just come across, and you will be surprised, believe me. With that, I'd like to conclude today's live broadcast. Thank you.